Hi, I'm Dr. Emily Friedman, and I'm in my home office with some office hours with my friend James D'Amato.
Hello, heroes.
And this is the start of an occasional series experiment, and I can't think of anyone I'd rather experiment with.
I'm so delighted to be here to help you.
Oh my gosh, because I do need help. I am a teacher, but sometimes you need to teach the teacher, right? Because all of us know some things really well, and other things we rely on other friends who know lots of
Yeah, how
things.
can you teach anyone anything if you don't learn?
Yeah. So, this is a confession, dear viewer. I'm scared of a game, and I'm hoping James is going to be able to help me figure out how to get this game to my table in
Okay, so I'm
ways.
envisioning something bloody, gory.
I mean, sometimes
Okay,
I've been
okay.
told. I've been told sometimes there are bodily fluids involved.
Oh,
Um,
well,
but
reveal the subject of your nightmare.
well, I will reveal it by saying also, you have told me that you think this is the best designed game in tabletop.
There is a game that I think of that. Let's make sure that it's the same one.
So I'm scared of Starcrossed.
Okay, okay. Yes, I do think, with my vast experience playing many games, that this is the best designed role playing game. Every laurel that it has, it richly deserves. I adore this game.
Yeah, and I adore Alex Roberts, and I teach for the Queen all the time. It's the first game I play with my students.
And truly one of the most accessible role playing games that has ever been designed, as well. Alex is kind of on fire with
Yeah.
design.
And I only need, like, this is the kind of game that you only need to find one person to play with and a few hours. In theory, this should be ideal.
That's right, to catch people up. Starcrossed is a two-player role-playing game of forbidden romance, where you play two characters who are really into each other, but have a really good reason keeping them apart. It is a game that is in large part about playing with romantic tension, which can be a touchy subject for some people. So I understand why it is scary.
Yeah, and so I'm trying to get over this, and so we were talking in class the other day about about this game, and you talked to my students about this in ways that I think really helped me reframe, because this is a well-designed game. I am interested in thinking about the full spectrum of human emotion in all kinds of ways, and I just have to find one friend. So but I'm not necessarily a person who is used to flirting with my friends all the time, at least
Sure,
the ones that are here.
sure.
And also, we've been talking a little bit about the fact that a lot of people talk about Star-Crossed as an excuse to flirt with your
I
friends.
mean, I will say transparently, Alex Roberts, one of the things that she says about this game is it is a great game to play when you want to flirt with someone.
Yeah. And I guess the first thing to talk about is what's the difference between flirting and, say, seduction? Because I think a lot of people conflate the two.
Wow. That might be a discussion that I'm even barely equipped to have. But it's flirtation, is a form of play. At the end of the day, like what we're doing when we're role playing, that is play as well. It is allowing ourselves to get comfortable around each other. It is uh, playing a sort of game where we get to, be a little affectionate. We get to say things that we wouldn't normally say, to somebody that we're not comfortable with.
Mhm.
It is a type of play around our comfort. Now, can that be related to seduction? Absolutely. You can be flirting with somebody that you are into because you want to open the door to that relationship. But you can also flirt with somebody because you want to be better friends. When somebody gives you a compliment and they say, I love that outfit on you. You look fantastic. I am dying for you.
Yeah.
That is not necessarily them knocking on your door trying to seduce you. That is just saying, I really appreciate you. I think you look great, and I think you should feel good about that. And that kind of flirtation is a type of game that feels good to play with anyone. If you are somebody who has like received a compliment in public that has like bolstered your day, buoyed you from a complete and random stranger, that is a type of flirtation. And I think our doors can be open to that. There's obviously this whole complex background that, again, I don't feel like I can fully investigate, and I'm not the subject matter expert on that. But I think because Starcrossed is a role playing game, a structured environment, it is actually a great and relatively safe way to play with flirtation. And one of the things that like we talked about with this game, Starcrossed is a well-designed game in that it is using bleed as part of its design, and that's one of the reasons that it makes it great to flirt with somebody that you like want to flirt with, and want to flirt with on the seduction side of things. But it is also a game that is meticulously curating the experience that it creates, and because of that, it is a safe space to play to keep the experience contained within the game, even if you're playing with those same feelings. Uh, and all of that is to say, it is a great way to learn things about people and learn things that they don't volunteer. Um, I'm a big fan of fan fiction. Do you know why I like fan fiction?
Why you like fan
Yeah,
fiction?
yeah, yeah. Hazard a guess. Like, apart from loving the characters and wanting to see more from them.
Oh god. Well, I would have to look into your AO3 tags, and I don't. Do I want to?
I don't know, maybe. So my love of fan fiction,
Mhm.
part of it stems from the fact that I think it is one of the most revealing forms of expression. It is often written anonymously, and it's written about the hyperfixations, not just hyperfixation on character, but hyperfixation on story dynamic, relationship dynamic. I believe fan fictions are more revealing than what somebody would write in their diary, because in our diaries we often lie. Even if we know that we are the only people who are going to be interacting with that object, we will tell a lie. But in fan fiction, through a story, you tell a truth deeper than you would ever dare utter. And I think that is just a mask that exists in creating fiction. So when you play a game like Starcrossed, it gives you permission to play with and reveal ways that you think that you don't normally volunteer. One of the things that I can bring our attention to here is the character sheet itself. When you create characters in Starcrossed, part of the game is you exchange character sheets, and you have to write for your companion, what are two things about this character that I don't realize are attractive? And obviously, because it's written from the perspective of the character, it's what are two things about me that I don't realize are attractive? Um, that is a point where the game explicitly asks you, the player, to name something that you believe is attractive. Name a quality that is attractive. And that's just character setup. Many of you could do that part of the game, even if you are nervous around Starcrossed, and not think about it. But I look at that and I get to see like my friends, the people that I'm playing with, like, oh, this is a thing that you think is attractive. That's fun. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And like, it is the sort of creative water that we don't often give ourselves permission to play with because we're obsessed with violence.
And it's amazing to me sometimes how easy it is for us to talk about really violent acts when in our role playing, and never talk about that aside from maybe like my eyeball thing or our friends, thumbnail thing or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There are a lot of like, even if you're just looking at bog standard actual play stuff, and bog standard is actually a rude thing to say. What I mean is like your straightforward sword and sorcery adventuring, what you would think of as like the most neutral, flavor neutral form of actual play. It can get pretty violent. There can be a lot of narration in that is very like almost horror focused. I know in Skyjacks there is a lot of like straight up body horror stuff that will come up. And that can be extreme, but that is more normal and more approachable for many people than doing anything that might touch their feelings. So I understand the fear.
Yeah, I mean, I love the windows that come in from reframing this as we could think about this as fan fiction we're doing together. We could do a heated rivalries, sort of vibe,
Yes.
or kind of explore and kind of move in those kinds of directions. And I know our friend Dylan was talking about playing this in a group,
Yes.
where in the same way that people used to play the board game Fog of Love as a team sport rather than individuals. So stepping a little bit further away from the two as you and I,
Mhm.
but instead getting us a little bit more insulation.
I will say, I think like that is a fun variation
Mhm.
on the game, and I definitely encourage people to like play with any games that they've got. But I also, because Starcrossed I think is the best designed game, part of that means
You don't want to hack it.
it's a game that actually really rewards following every rule and playing rules as written. It does mean opening yourself up and being a little brave in
Mhm.
certain circumstances. Um, but the thing is, like, your play partner is probably also kind of being brave. You're being brave together in that circumstance. And that actually makes the game more exciting. The fact that you're a little bit afraid of it is probably going to lead to a better experience because, again, Starcross's rules take that nervous energy and they channel it towards doing the game well.
It sounds a little bit like a roller coaster.
Yeah, exactly. It is doing something that is a little scary, or a haunted house. Starcrossed is an evolution of Dread. It started with a game that was built around fear and
Yeah.
exploring fear. And the tension that you feel around romance can often feel very similar.
Yeah, and I know you've talked about it when we've talked about this as um an icebreaker, a manageable kind of getting over anxiety in that kind of way.
Yes, absolutely. One thing that I'll say about Starcrossed is this is a game that people can speak from personal experience, their own expertise for this game more than they can for almost any other. People think of D&D as a very approachable game, right? But not many of us have been in a life or death situation.
I don't know. I'm hacking and slashing my way through all kinds of dungeons. I am an academic after all.
Well, I'll say your state is very different than mine, and there are a lot more monsters out here. But for those of us that don't live in that world, like I don't have a lot of experience with risking my life. I don't have a lot of experience with like physical prowess and whatnot that like all my fantasy characters do. Um, but I have been in love. I have had a crush on someone. I have a lot of personal things that I can invest in the game. And that is another part of what makes it work, vulnerability. But the stakes of Starcrossed, I really want to reinforce, are stakes that you, dear listener and viewer, probably do understand very well from your life. And they're probably moments that you reflect on often in happy ways or sad ways. Processing that through fiction is a gorgeous thing to do. And if you've got a supportive friend nearby to help you do just that, that's actually wonderful. All role playing games are a creative, expressive experience. You are making art with the people that you are collaborating with. Um, and making art can be restorative, it can be therapeutic, it can be a bonding experience. And that's what I invite you to look at it as. Like, if you want to flirt with somebody, great. If you don't want to flirt with somebody, you gotta think, do you want to hang out with your friend? And if the answer to that is yes, why not learn more about them?
So, thinking about this as my colleague Evan Turner says, role playing games are a way to get to know somebody better in these kinds of ways. That for you, it's always sounded like Starcrossed is a valuable part of that toolkit of just getting to know someone by getting to look at each other closely in these kinds of ways.
Yeah, I mean, it is. When I think of like romance and whatnot in fiction, it is one of the things that feels most important to me that I invest in the most. And when I think about like the stories that I tell through actual play or that I admire through actual play, the romances that happen in Skyjacks, the romances that happen in Critical Role,
Oh,
those
but
are
James,
things.
those are all kids and theater professionals, and I'm only a former retired theater kid.
Sure. But I would bet that we referenced fan fiction earlier.
Mhm.
A large part of the audience is probably playing in those waters, whether they're reading or writing their own. What I'm saying is it matters because it's important to you. and being able to pick up things that are important to you are scary in a certain way, but they are also rewarding for doing that. And like, I would love to reframe your thinking around role playing, generally speaking. In terms of vulnerability, we often think of like exposing our flaws as being vulnerable, exposing our weaknesses as being vulnerable, and it can be, but there is also a not insignificant vulnerability in exposing what you like, what you love, and you do that through D&D, and you do that by, when you make a character, you are saying a little bit, this is what I think is cool, and that is so hard for most people to do. And the role playing audience is something that embraces that, like really, really leans into it. So, and you get rewarded for it. Like, we're here, you're watching a video of philosophy about role playing games. You're into it enough that I can say that it has really rewarded you in your life. And so being able to open new doors in role playing is also very rewarding. And this game, being an experience, being about a specific snapshot, allows you to look at something that people find hard to look at, something that people find hard to bring themselves close to, and do it in a way that is tremendously rewarding. Every time I have played this game, it has left me with memories that I reflect on often. And I want that for everyone who has the chance to play it. And that means, like, again, whether you want to flirt or not, like, I think there are so many cool things that you can do with your friends
Yeah.
around it.
Yeah, and one of the things that just kind of was an aha moment. We talked about so much of this, but what actually is a coming awareness to me as I listen to you talk is it's also one of the games where you don't have the rest of the table as an audience.
Yeah, it is just the people telling that story. And that is like one of the things that's really, really beautiful about it, is it gets to be such a special thing with whomever you decide to share it with. And if you get the expansion, hey, that can be more than two people, because there is a sort of polyamorous romance
Yeah.
expansion in Love Letters.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, love is expansive. Love is so many different things. Love can bring so many different kinds of emotions and investments. And it's not just one kind of person that you love that you could want to play this game with.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And like, gosh, if you are somebody who can talk about relationships that you like in media with friends or anyone, then I really do think you are somebody who can play this game. And the game might make you feel a feeling. But I promise you will like that it does that, because it is very well balanced to do that. And if it is ever touching territories that feel uncomfortable, this is also a game that features the X card. So it has a way for you to manage any feelings that are accompanying that as well.
Yeah, and the X card is one of many different kinds of what we call conversational or safety tools that you can bring into games like this. And in fact, games that are even more intense or hardcore often have really useful ways of navigating those tricky things that maybe you want to look at, or maybe I could incorporate into this if I'm feeling particularly hesitant.
Mhm.
But I think you've convinced me that I can play Starcrossed.
I love that for you. I really hope you play it soon.
Yeah, maybe we should play.
I would, yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's go. But not with an audience. So bye. Please feel free to put questions into the comments. And of course, this is also a great little community-like thing on Patreon. And if you, like me, think James D'Amato is super great, the micro RPG book and Oh Captain, My Captain, which is James's Descended from the Queen game with all kinds of captains and all kinds of endings, is one of the things that is reliable on my shelf that my students really adore. And of course, your relationship with Simon & Schuster means there's lots more advice books. If you have found what James has been coaching me through even remotely useful, there's a lot more of really supportive stuff out there at your friendly local game store, as well as wherever books are sold.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate
He didn't know I was going to do this, and he didn't know I was going to be good at it.
that.
But we're going to go play around, and we'll see you soon with more of this. If this is something that you think is really useful, please feel free to also put new questions, and I'm going to see if I can find more of my friends to help me figure out other things that scare me or things that I'm still struggling with, because I think we're all here to learn more. So yeah, take care, and we'll see you soon.
See you next
Bye.
time, heroes.